Job chapter 22. Eliphaz saw the speech. What use are we humans to God? Eliphaz from Teman said, what use are we humans to God? Even the wisest of us, if we were completely sinless, that would still mean nothing to God all powerful. Is he correcting you for worshiping him? No, it's because of your terrible and endless sins. To graduate the payment of the debt you have taken clothes from innocent people, and you refused bread and water to the hunger and thirsty. Although you are rich, respected, and powerful, you have turned away widows and have broken the arms of orphans. That's why you are suddenly trapped by terror, blinded by darkness, and drowned in the flood. God lives in the heavens. God lives in the heavens above the highest stars, where He sees everything. Do you think the deep darkness hides you from God? Do thick cloud cover His eyes as He walks around the heavens dome high above the earth? Give up those ancient ideas believed by sinners who were swept away without warning. They rejected God all powerful, feeling he was helpless, although he had been kind to their families. The beliefs of these sinners are truly disgusting. When God's people see the godless swept away, they celebrate, saying, our enemies are gone, and fire has destroyed their positions. Surrender to God all powerful. You will find peace and prosperity. Listen to His teachings and take them to heart. If you return to God and turn from sin, all will go well for you. So get rid of your finest gold as though it were sand. Let God all powerful be your silver and gold, and you will find happiness by worshiping Him. God will answer your prayers, and you will keep the promises you made to Him. He will do whatever you ask, and life will be bright. When others are disgraced, God will clear their names in answer to your prayers. Even those who are guilty will be forgiven because you obey God. Job chapter 23. Job's reply to Eliphaz. Today I complain bitterly. Job said, today I complain bitterly because God has been cruel and made me suffer. If I knew where to find God, I would go there and argue my case. Then I would discover what He wanted to say. Would He overwhelm me with His greatness? No, He would listen because I was innocent, and He would say, I now set you free. I can't find God anywhere, in front or back of me, to my left or my right. God is always at work, though I never see Him, but He knows what I am doing, and when He tests me, I will be pure as gold. I have never refused to follow any of his commands, and I have always treasured his teachings. But he alone is God, and who can oppose him? God does as he is pleased, and he will do exactly what he intends with me. Merely the thought of God all powerful makes me tremble with fear. God has covered me with darkness, but I refuse to be silent. Chapter 24. Job continues. Why doesn't God set a time for a court? Why don't his people know where he can be found? Sinners remove boundary markers and take care of sheep they have stolen. They cheat orphans and widows by taking their donkeys and oxen. The poor are trampled and forced to hide in the desert, where they and their children must live like wild donkeys and search for food. If they want grain or grapes, they must go to the property of these sinners. They sleep naked in the cold because they have no cover, and during a storm their only shelters are caves among the rocky cliffs. Children whose fathers have died are taken from their mothers as payment for a debt. Then they are forced to work naked in the grain field because they have no clothes, and they go hungry. They crush olives to make oil and grapes to make wine, but still they go thirsty. And along the city streets, the wounded and dying cry out, yet God does nothing. Some reject the light. Some rebel and refuse to follow the light. Soon after sunset, they murder the poor and the needy. And at night they steal. Others wait for the dark, thinking they won't be seen if they sleep with the wife or husband of someone else. Robbers hide during the day, then break in after dark because they reject the light. They prefer night to day, since the terrors of the night are their friends. Sinners are filthy foam. Those sinners are filthy foam on the surface of the water, and so their field and vineyards will fall on their course and on to produce, just as the heat of summer swallows the snow. The word of the dead swallows those who sin, forgotten here on earth, and with their power broken. They taste sweet to worms. Sinners take advantage of widows and other helpless women. But God's mighty strength destroys those in power. Even if they seem successful, they are doomed to fail. God may let them feel secure, but they are never out of His sight. Great for a while, gone forever. Sinners are mowed down like weeds, then they wither and die. If I haven't spoken the truth, then prove me wrong. Chapter 25. Bildad's third speech. God is the one to fear. Bildad from Suah said, God is the one to fear, because God is in control and rules the heavens. who can count his army of stars? Isn't God the source of light? How can anyone be innocent in the sight of God? To him, not even the light of the moon and stars can ever be pure. So how can we humans, when we are merely worms? Chapter 26. Job's reply to Bildad. You have really been helpful. Job said, you have really been helpful to someone weak and weary. You have given great advice and wonderful wisdom to someone truly in need. How can anyone possibly speak with such understanding? Remember the terrible trembling of those in the world of the dead below the mighty ocean. Nothing in that land of death and destruction is hidden from God, who hung the northern sky and suspended the earth, an empty space. God stores water in clouds, but they don't burst, and He wrapped them around the face of the moon. On the surface of the ocean, God has drawn a boundary line between light and darkness, and columns supporting the sky tremble at His command. By His power and wisdom, God conquered the force of the mighty ocean. The heavens became bright when He breathed, and escaping sea monster died at His hands. These things are merely a whisper of God's power at work. How little we would understand if this whisper ever turned into thunder. Chapter 27. Job continues. I am desperate. Job said, I am desperate because God all-powerful refused to do what is right. As surely as God lives, and while He gives me breath, I will tell only the truth until the day I die. I refuse to do wrong by saying you are right, because each day my conscience agrees that I am innocent. I pray that my enemies will suffer no less than the wicked. Such people are hopeless, and God all-powerful will cut them down without listening when they beg for mercy, and that is what God should do, because they don't like Him or ever pray. Now I'll explain in detail what God all-powerful does. All of you have seen these things for yourselves, so you have no excuse how God treats the wicked. Here is how God all-powerful treats those who are wicked or brutal. They may have many children, but most of them will go hungry or suffer a violent death. Others will die of disease, and their widows won't be able to weep. The wicked may correct riches and clothe this abundance as easily as clay. But God's people will wear clothes taken from them and divided up their riches. No homes built by the wicked will outlast a cocoon or shark. Those sinners may go to bed rich, but they will wake up poor. Terror will strike at night like a flood or a storm. Then a scorching wind will sweep them away without showing mercy as they try to escape. At last, the wind will celebrate because they are gone. Chapter 28. Job continues. Gold and silver are mine. Gold and silver are mined, then purified. The same is done with iron and copper. Miners carry lanterns deep into the darkness to search for these metals. They dig tunnels in distant, unknown places where they dagger by ropes. Far breadth the grain field fires are built to break loose those rocks that have jewels or gold. Miners go to places unseen by the eyes of hawks. They walk on soil unknown to the prudest lions. With their own hands they remove sharp rocks and uproot mountains. They dig through the rocks in search of jewels and precious metals. They also uncover the sources of rivers and discover select places. Where is wisdom found? But where is wisdom found? No human knows the way, nor can it be discovered in the deepest sea. Is it worth much more than silver or pure gold or precious stones? Nothing is its equal, not gold or costly glass. Wisdom is worth much more than coral, jasper, or rubies, or of topaz of Ethiopia and finest gold cannot compare with it. Where then is wisdom? Is it hidden from human eyes and even from birds? Death and destruction have merely heard the rumors about where it is found. God is only one who knows the way to wisdom. He also sees everything vanish the heavens. God divided out the wind and the water, and when he decided to pass for rain and lightning, he also determined the truth and defined wisdom. God told us, wisdom means that you respect me, the Lord, and turn from sin. Job 29. Job continues. I long for the past. Job said, I long for the past when God took care of me and the light from his lamp showed me the way through the dark. I was in the prime of life. God all-powerful was my closest friends, and all of my children were nearby. My heart gave enough milk to bathe my feet, and from my olive harvest flowed the river of oil. When I sat down at the meeting of the city council, the young leaders stepped aside, while the older ones stood and remained silent. Everyone was pleased with what I said and did. When poor people or orphans cried out for help, I came to their rescue, and I was highly praised for my generosity to wisdoms and others in poverty. Kindness and justice were my coat and hat. I was help to the blind and to the lame. I was father to the needy, and I defended them in court, even if they were strangers. When criminals attacked, I broke their teeth and set their victims free. I felt certain that I would live a long and happy life. Then in my own bed. In those days, I was strong like a tree with deep roots and with plenty of water, or like an archer's new bow. Everyone listened in silence to my welcome advice, and when I finished speaking, nothing needed to be said. My words were eagerly accepted like the showers of spring, and the smile on my face renewed everyone's hopes. My advice was followed as though I were a king leading my troops, or someone comforting those in sorrow. Yopdori, Yop continues. Young people now insult me, although their fathers would have been a disgrace to my sheepdogs, and those who insult me and mean are helpless themselves. They must crowd the desert sand in the dark for something to satisfy their hunger. They gather tasteless shrubs for food and firewood, and they are run out of towns as though they were thieves. Their only homes are ditches or holes between rocks, where they bray like donkeys gathering around the shrubs. And like senseless donkeys, they are chased away. Those worthless nobodies make up jokes and songs to disgrace me. They are hateful and keep their distance, even while speeding in my direction. God has destroyed me, and so they don't care what they do. Their attacks never stop, though I am defenseless, and my feet are trapped without any help. They prevent my escape, destroying me completely and leaving me crushed. Terror has me surrounded. My reputation and my riches have vanished like a cloud. I am sick at heart. Pain has taken its toll. Night chews on my bones, causing endless torment, and God has shrunk my skin, choking me to death. I have been thrown in the dirt, and now I am dirt myself. I beg God for help, but there is no answer, and when I stand up, I simply stares. God has turned brutal, steering up a windstorm to toss me about. Soon he will send me home to the world of the dead, where we all must go. Now one refuses help to others when disaster strikes. I mourned for the poor and those who suffered, but when I beg for relief and light, all I receive are disaster and darkness. My stomach is tied in knot. Pain is my daily companion. My days are dark and gloomy, and in the city council I stand and cry out, making mournful sounds like jackals and owls. My skin is so parched that it peels right off, and my bones are burning. My only songs are sorrow and sadness. Amen.